Hello guys, once again it's Matt, and today we have another video. Thank you all the members, all the patrons. Make sure to subscribe guys, and let's get into it. So today I wanted to talk about the famous MiG-29G. A lot of people talk about this aircraft as it should be a variant or anything like that, that it should be added to the game, that it's completely nuts that they didn't add the MiG-29G instead of the 912A and whatever. A lot of people talk about a lot of stuff, right, about this MiG-29. And I wanted to talk a little bit about it and talk about why it's probably never going to be added to the game. Okay, guys? So first of all, what is the MiG-29G, right? First of all, we need to know what is the 912A. So the 912A is the version that we have in game. A lot of people know that. And it's a MiG-29 that was made in 1988 to basically fulfill the role of an export variant of the original 912. Obviously, the Soviets back in that time were expecting to actually try to sell these aircraft for some more trusted countries, right? But it took them a while because normally the main force that receives these aircraft first, it's obvious, the Soviet Air Force, right? Or the PVO, right? So yeah, they did receive it in 1980 until like 1984 and 85. Afterwards, the 913 came along and kind of substituted that aircraft on production, which is the version that we have in game. So for the Soviets, I mean, right? But as I was saying, 1988, they started producing the 912A, which is the export variant of the original 912, with some different minor differences. You know, like a radar was apparently tuned down, not really tuned down. It was more like an IFF change. Basically, systems were a little bit different to the Soviet one, just to make sure that if an aircraft such as this got into the NATO's hands, it would be different enough to the Soviets have the upper hand on that kind of counter-spy kind of situation, right? So yeah, in 1989, the East Germans started receiving these MiG-29s. So yeah, not a lot of them were actually, delivered. Around 24 of them were built and delivered between 1988, late 88 and 89. During basically 20 MiG-29s 912As, and then we had 4 MiG-29s UBs, which are the trainer versions, the B-blasted versions. But after the fall of the Berlin Wall in November 1989 and the reunification of Germany in October 1990, these aircraft were basically introduced into the West German Luftwaffe, obviously the integrated air forces that they did on that basically time, right? So yeah, and they tested the aircraft and stuff. It was basically a party for NATO to have an ally like that using a MiG-29 so that they can actually test it against it. But yeah, then we have the MiG-29G. MiG-29G was basically an objective from 1993 onwards there, an objective to basically make a MiG-29 912A, the 20 that they had, into NATO standard. What does that mean? Well, they used kilometers, they used in the avionics, they used a lot of the things were just like Soviet, standard. So for example, the 912A specifically didn't have any type of GPS, so they installed the GPS. The IFF systems were the Soviet ones, so they installed NATO standard ones. Radios were Soviet-made radios, right? So they needed to add the NATO radios, and so on and so on. So that was basically the level 1 of the planet upgrade, introducing it to radios, IFFs, TACANs, GPS, even a red anti-collision light was installed halfway along the fuselage spine and under the port engine nacelle. So yeah, it was basically introduction to NATO for the MiG-29. That's pretty much it. Every single weapon system the radar, everything else was literally the same. It was just minor things to be able to be compatible of operational, operations, Jesus Christ, in NATO standard stuff, right? So yeah, that's the main thing. The funny part is that it was actually, the upgrade was made together with MiG, so that was very funny to see. But yeah, the MiG aircraft product support, or maps, was created together with Daimler-Benz Aerospace, which is Mercedes, right? So basically MiG and Mercedes made a joint venture to actually, they changed the name afterwards, but it doesn't matter. The thing is that they made it so that the company could do this objective, right? And then they had the level 2. The level 2 is a little bit different. The objective was the installation of basically wet pylons, wing pylons. I mean, this was already, I think, a thing on the 913. I cannot remember if the original 912 had that. So yeah, that's there, right? And the main thing about the level 2 upgrade was the extended airframe TBO. So basically the time between overhauls, right? So yeah, and obviously also the service life of the engine. So yeah, the objective was to just make sure that these aircraft were, you know, had a longer life, basically, to be, you know, longer to that, right? So it's hard to find how many of these aircraft were, you know, like introduced to the aircraft. We have the confirmation that, for example, 7 of these aircraft, these 20 aircraft, received the GPS system. I think all of them received the other systems, but the 7 of them received GPS only. And then the level 2, I think it was the others more 7 aircraft, I don't know, 6. I think it's 6 aircraft afterwards that were upgraded to this. I mean, it's hard to find, but it was between 1993 and 1999, and in 2004 they withdrew the MiG-29G to the Polish Air Force, so and transitioned it to the Eurofighter Typhoon, right? But that's the thing. As you see, it is just a normal aircraft. It is a normal 912 that doesn't have anything else to go for to be a new aircraft. You know, even as an event vehicle, it's kind of lame to be added. It would be very, I mean, it would be fun to have it, but to be honest, it's the same aircraft, so why would you want that? I mean, no new missiles were added or anything like that. There are some sources that claim that they try to test some of the NATO stuff, but it really doesn't matter, because the main part about this aircraft is that it was just the normal 912 with NATO standard equipment on the avionics, on radios, and other stuff like that. So there is no basic reason to actually add this thing. What they can add, since especially the MiG-29s, it's a funny fact that the MiG-29s, even though they are from the GDR initially, or the DDR, they were integrated to the Luftwaffe very soon afterwards. So basically 1 or 2 years later, from the introduction to the East Germans, they were already part of the Luftwaffe, right? So I don't understand why they didn't add any type of camouflage from the Luftwaffe, just because, I mean, from basically from 1988, 99 until like 1990, they were part of the East German Air Force. But from 1990 until 2004, they were part of the Luftwaffe. So yeah, a lot more time, if you ask me, right? So that's why I think we need maybe one of them with kills and the other one more of buying stuff. We can even have some commemoratives skins from Luftwaffe or anything like that. There are many skins that can be added. But the thing is that the aircraft is the same. The only thing that needs to be added is different camos, and it would be fine and good to go. We don't need to research another MiG-29 just for the sake of it, just for a scan. Please, no more grinding on that part of the tech tree, right? I think it would be not too much to ask, right? But anyway, this is it. These are the reasons why I don't think we will ever see the MiG-29G. So there you are, and hopefully you understood, and hopefully it made sense, because it really doesn't make any sense to have that aircraft added to the game. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed. Make sure to subscribe, and I see you guys on the next one. Bye guys, see you.